I wanted to talk about some of the things that people should think about when they're thinking about doing a big upgrade or building their own studio. I'm not talking about like the best interface and best microphone and shit like that, but like the philosophies, how to plan it, how to think ahead. Do you have thoughts on like where somebody should start if they're about to like pull their credit card out? And before they do that, what do they do?
If we're just talking about anyone, the questions I would ask myself would basically be, what are my goals? What are the things I aspire to do? And if I'm doing that, what am I going to be spending the majority of my time doing specifically, right? So I'm a drummer. I always want to be able to record drums. It's a big pain in the ass when setting up a studio, because if I didn't have to do that, oh man, my studio would be way cooler. But that's something I have to do. So it's like, I have to compromise on my listening experience because there's a whole drum kit and a bunch of mics and a bunch of snares and cymbals right next to me, like right behind me.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, how many hours out of the day am I sitting and playing those drums? Pretty small amount. And the rest of the time I'm sitting over here listening,
Right.
So it's like, how do you strike that balance of the things that you want to be able to do really well with the other things you need to do? I need to film. I need to have lights. I need to be able to have access to everything in the room. I need it to kind of work. 'Cause this is, out of all the rooms I've had, it's the biggest room, but it's still a little room above my garage. But I can film a bunch of different ways up here. Everything's lit and it's out of the way. I can track live instruments, drums, guitars, synths, bass, vocals, percussion, whatever. It's all set up to basically just not have to change anything.
Yeah.
Vocal, I've got a mic literally right. You can't hear it, but I can. And then, I've got a big old thing here. So yeah, it's basically like, I would say, try to figure out what you think you're going to spend the most time doing. And then kind of like game plan, like a layout of the room. But also, I think people get really tied up in the technical stuff. Definitely people overthink gear. People get really tied up in like, do I need to do green glue? Do I need to use this kind of drywall? Do I need to float my floors and this kind of stuff? And for everyone who is like a full-time, high-priced, incredible mixing engineer and needs all that, kudos. To the regular person, I would say, don't worry about that. I would say prioritize workflow and prioritize comfort.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. When you come into the studio and it's uncomfortable, how much work are you going to get done? What's the quality of that work? And how long are you going to want to be in there?
No, you want to get out.
Yeah, it's going to suck. Everything's going to suck. It's going to be miserable.
Yeah.
The room needs to be comfortable and it needs to work. Like everything outside of that is like, whatever. Yeah, it's not a vocal booth, but whatever.
It's fine. It's fine. Well, the thing that I think is interesting, and I think a lot of like people that have been coming up in the last few years that haven't been in studios like we have, I think they get really shocked when they walk into like an East West or whatever, and they have to wait for something to get set up because they're used to being in like producers' rooms where like I'm sure that sub 37 just shows up somewhere right now if you were to turn around and hit it. And that's the difference between like you're talking about dialing a workspace in that you can create in quickly and going into a professional studio that can do everything. You just have to tell them what you're doing before you get there. And they're two very different mentalities. And I really enjoy like having a space that is just set up and it works. And I think that's the way the world is kind of going these days.
Yeah, I think they definitely both have value. And, I think it's kind of something that, really boils down to what you're doing, because this is great for a bunch of things, but it's not great for tracking strings. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.